Hey guys, BJ the Brave here, and today I'm bringing you another deck guide, and indeed another Orc deck guide. This one is pretty spicy. It's one I've been cooking up myself, and I'm gonna actually show you today, like a little bit about where the deck started. And I've played quite a few games now, and I've evolved the deck, so I'm gonna finish by showing you the final deck. And I have to say, I'm pretty happy with it. It's doing well on ladder. It's doing well against ultramarines. It's doing well. It's doing very, very well. And it's another orc build, but I'm having a lot I feel like in some ways the two decks that I've had the most fun with in this game are my orc control and now this orc deck that I'm going to show you today. Guys, it's a kind of aggro to mid-range build. Okay, now the Ecclesiarch and DD, who is in the top 50, are both playing like an all-out aggro face ripper build. If you want to run that, it's different to what I'm doing here. Different kind of idea, different way of playing. But if you want to do that, go and check out the Ecclesiarch. He has got a guide on his channel for that deck. But without further ado, I am bringing you the big G himself, Big Gaz, or Gazgul Mag Uruk Thraka, as he is known. If you want to literally stomp your way up ladder, this is the deck. Now, we started out with Gazgul version 1.0. I've got the 1.1 version here, and I'm going to show you the 1.2, which is the list that I've ended with. But to help you kind of understand the list, I just thought it'd be worth kind of sharing like the original one. You can see some of the changes that I made, and I can talk about why. Now, first and foremost, why Gazgul? I can hear you saying, why Gazgul over the other two? Obviously, in terms of the leaders, we've got Zagstruck and we've got Face Ripper. Now, you all know, if you've been watching my channel, that I am a huge fan of Face Ripper. I actually think Face Ripper is legitimately he's a contender for best warlord in the game. And if you want to understand more on that, go and watch my warlord tier list video where I talk a bit more about that. But he is definitely in the top three. He is a superb war boss. But for this actual deck, for this particular deck and the style and what this deck is trying to do, I believe Gazgul is definitely the best warlord choice for it. And so why is that? Well, a couple of reasons. So first and foremost, we call this Big G or Big Gaz because a lot of the deck revolves around buffing our war boss and basically leading the charge and doing a lot of the stomping yourself, right? So we are attacking every turn with our war boss. We have our finisher. One of our big finishers in the deck is Proper Killy, so that means we're going to be taking damage on our lord, and therefore Gazgul is the biggest war boss. Literally, he's got the 40 health, and that really plays into it. And Face Ripper's only weakness is he can be a bit fragile sometimes. It's not the only reason why I'm picking Gaz. When you look at the hero powers, all three of the hero powers, they are all what are called, well, certainly the other two are what I'd call tempo loss. So, in other words, if every time you play the hero power, you're essentially losing tempo if you were to compare spending that 2 energy on an actual unit. Like point for point, it technically works out at a slight tempo loss. Now, Gazgul's hero ability is the only one that can actually be a tempo gain. So what do I mean by that? Well, obviously, if we ended up with 4 units on the board, 5 units on the board, and we played Gazgul's ability, then suddenly, and I know that's situational and it's rare, we'll come back to that, but suddenly that is a tempo gain. Now, the other thing about this, and this is an all-out tempo build, so tempo is super at the center of the thinking here. The other thing is because it's a tempo build, is regardless of the lord that we've got, we don't actually want to play our war boss talent very often, right? Because if we're doing that, then we've either not built the deck correctly, or we're not mulliganing correctly, or we're not playing our cards correctly because we're using mana on our I keep saying hero power, but warlord talent too often. So, in other words, we only situationally want to be using our war boss power. We want the game to be over by turn 8 often. So, in 8 turns, how many times are we going to play the war boss power? Well, maybe two, maybe two. And as I just said, if we're going to play it twice, then we can pick those situations where we get a tempo gain with Ghazghkull. So for all of those reasons, I honestly believe Ghazghkull is the best for this. The other thing is when we go second, we have the Grot Tower, so we can play the Grot Tower and play his hero power on the first turn, which means that we have Ghazghkull and 2/2/2s on the board, literally on the first turn. So that's why we're picking Ghazghkull. Now, the finishers in this deck, we've got originally we were looking at things like proper Killy on our war boss. We can do things like drop Makari down next to Ghazghkull, and then all of a sudden he's up to 3. Proper Killy puts him up to 5, which means he does 10 damage on his own. We've also run in the 2 banner knobs, so that's another way of getting it up to 10 damage. That can be melee or ranged. And sorry, the 10 damage is melee, but he can obviously buff range as well, so we can take out flyers and things like that. And if you're really lucky, sometimes you can obviously have both. So you could potentially have a 12 attack finish from Ghazghkull. Other finishers in the deck are the Warbikers. Seriously, one of my favourite cards in the alt collection. It's a fantastic card. I really love the fast ability, and this card genuinely allows you to kind of play aggro. And again, can be buffed by Makari, can be buffed by the Ghazghkull's hero power. That's another reason for playing Ghazghkull, because often, like say it's like turn 9 or whatever, and often you have plenty of energy left to spend, and you're just trying to get that reach and finish it. And you can drop the Warbiker, and you can play Ghazghkull's power just to put the Warbike up to 5. And then if you've got Makari, that's suddenly 6. So you can see how you can really stack the damage. And this deck is all about reach. It's all about playing out tempo and calculating the perfect amount of reach. Now, some people might find that quite stressful. It really reminds me of for those who played the Elder Scrolls Legends CCG, there's a guy who was quite famous for, he built like a scout deck, and it was such a glass cannon. It was so fragile, but it was all about calculating the perfect amount of damage, so you literally just win every single time. And this deck really reminds me of that, and you'll see in some of the gameplay that comes off too. And then the kind of like third way of finishing it was really if you do manage to kind of overwhelm the board and kind of play down Death Dread and just sort of just sort of overrun them. So they were the win conditions. Now, I made a few changes to the deck because what I was finding, and by the way, this is the deck I've ended on, is by no means like the final version, but it's a version that I'm very happy with and winning with a lot of the minute. But what I did is I realized that I needed to have fewer stratagems. So, for example, I would often have Prophet of the Wire in my hand, and I'm thinking, oh God, right, it's like a Swiss Army knife. So I devised it so that I could have like, one no mucking about and Gretchen mobs for the vanguards, or a proper Killy for the finisher. So the idea is the Prophet of the Wire is like a Swiss Army knife and can get me what I need. Sounds good, right? Problem is, back to what we said about this being a tempo deck. If it was a control deck, then that's a fantastic idea, but every time we do this, it's costing us 2, and it's a tempo loss. And the other thing, it's not absolutely guaranteed that you get the one you want. So I started to realize, along with some of the other, I may have even added in the 1.0, I think I had even more stratagems, and I started to realize I need to have fewer, because where you lose with this deck then is when you end up with a crap hand where you're sitting there with 2 or 3 cards in hand that are all stratagems and there's nothing to play them on. Even Ada's Nails I've got 2 of, and I'm really thinking about dropping it down to 1. It's very good, Ada's Nails, but I think I think one of them might actually be correct. That's probably the next thing I'm going to test. So I wanted to drop some of these out now. The other one that I dropped was the Death Dread, because the Death Dread, you can absolutely run the Death Dread in this. I think it works fine. But what I found is sometimes that on turn 7, if the game goes that long, dropping the Dread and the instant effect of the 1 to 3 damage that you get from other units attacking was quite minimal, as in it'd probably be my Lord and possibly one other unit. And I was thinking I needed something that had more, that was more of a kind of finisher, and I did want to have an alternative finisher to the ones that I've already mentioned if we don't have the proper Killy route and thingy. So I ended up, and I had Mega Knob Ugruk in there as well because that I thought, oh, that could lead me to like a late Green Horde. But I was finding that the Green Horde was also super underwhelming in this deck. Like, it really is a great card, obviously in lots of other decks, but in this deck, it's actually quite underwhelming because we're not drawing cards, so we're not going to have like loads of units for the. Often I'd have the Green Horde and like Storm Boy, and I was thinking I might as well just play Storm Boy out. I don't actually need the discount. So, what I ended up finishing with is this, which is the 1.2 version. Now, we've put the grot in, and honestly, I would like to test the second grot. Second grot might be good. If we have turn one, then the grot can be played out, and you can just play two of them out. So we again keep that kind of turn one tempo. We want to be doing something on turn one if we can. Makari does not need any more explaining, I don't think, but in this deck in particular, like I said, it's all about reach, so you often want him next to Gaz. That's why it's big Gaz, because we're buffing Gaz wherever we can. So Makari, if we get Makari, it's like I'm pretty confident we win if we get Makari early in this deck. It's just so good. The Slugger Boys and Storm Boys are what they are. I mean, the thing to note here is you want to play two of them out on turn 4. You want to play one of them out on turn 2. If you're going first and you don't have the grot, then it's correct to play just one of them. It's a question that people ask me sometimes. There's even some games where it might have 5 mana and I might play something and then just one of them and then Ardor's Nails, for example. So don't be too trapped by the Tide ability. Obviously, if we can get Tide off, great, but it's not always the best. It's not always the correct choice to do that. If I've got a choice of playing Slugger Boy or Storm Boy down, try to think about your enemy's counters, or are you holding the veteran Storm Boy, which obviously could give Storm Boys flank, so it might be worth saving your Storm Boys, playing your Slugger Boys as a priority, and then seeing if your Storm Boys can come down after this guy and get the benefit. All these are things to kind of consider. Gretchin Mob's brilliant because it's 3 units at once, and that's obviously threatens good synergy with Ghazghkull's. Ghazghkull Mag Uruk Thraka. Love saying it. It just obviously got great synergy with his buff. Proper Killer is just awesome. I mean, it's just won me so many games, and it just feels so good. Like, it's Ghazghkull Mag Uruk Thraka. This is like, the big boss, being Proper Killer, stomping on your opponent's face and winning the game. And that is like pretty much 50% of the wins. Here we go. Shooter Boy is also fantastic. I think the thing with Shooter Boy is what I've learned with this guy is not to try to be too greedy with him. Like, you drop him on turn 3. It's if you've got the Grot tank, sometimes you play the tank or the Gretchin Mob, but there's nothing wrong with just dropping Shooter Boy and just Ghazghkull hitting face, getting that one ping, and then Shooter Boy is actually not a bad body in himself. So, it's just not being too greedy with him. Obviously, if you can get him in behind the Gretchin Mob, you can start to get lots of value with him. But often we just want to get a couple of pings from him, and that's great. Warbiker, we run 2. Don't be scared to use 1 early as removal if you need to, although often in this deck, if you're playing out your early curve well, then you actually don't really need to do that. Fantastic finisher, wins us a lot of matches, and often combined with Proper Killie, that combination gives us a super amount of reach. So always be calculating and always thinking about when to kind of beat down and go in and take the opponent out. So the banner knob obviously gives us +1 at melee and range, and the amount of times where Ultramarine Stern Guard or something sitting there thinking there's no units on the board, and then you just buff Gaz and smack him, or it takes out a ranged. Again, we've got big Gaz, so we're not scared about taking 4 damage to take out a flyer. We can do that. We want to control the board really early on, controlling the board while chipping away at face, and then we go full on beatdown. We got the Death Gun Looter, and the Death Gun Looter is pretty good actually. Again, for 4 mana, it's a 5 health body. It's something I quite kind of look for a lot, and it's got pretty decent stats, especially considering that even if just like 1 unit dies, which usually that does, it's a 3/4 for 5. Obviously this thing can get crazy big, but often it's just like a decent mid-range body. It keeps that pressure on. Then I run 2 Deathcopters now. The Deathcopters are interesting because, and okay, well, I will just say, like, the thing with the Deathcopters is, They're growing on me. They're growing on me. For 4 mana, we've got great health and flying. Flying is a premium in this game. Like, so the fact that they're flying with 5 health is pretty good actually for 4 mana. Obviously, that it's unstable, which you just need to think about positioning properly with this. I have lost a game where it was late game. I played out two of them next to each other and next to my lord, and they chain reacted basically, and everything just died. so, so it can certainly backfire. But you know, I think the Defcopter uh, it it does a really good job at that kind of mid-range beefy unit, kind of keeping up pressure, keeping up tempo. It can deal with enemy flyers. It can be awkward for your opponent to remove, and it also scales really well into the late game, right? I mean, obviously, technically on turn 12 we can play 3 of these because it's got tide 2. I've never done that, but I don't think I've ever gone 12 turns with this deck, but I've certainly played out 2 of them on turn 8. But again, don't be trapped by the tide. Sometimes on turn 8, it might be correct to play, I don't know, Banner Knob and 1 Deathcopter. So don't be completely pulled in by the tide too. But I just think getting one of those down is pretty good. We've got the Orc Knob, which is, you know, again, just fantastic. There's a bit of a bug in the game right now around this guy. He attacks and just dies for no reason, even though he's going only get hit back by something with 1 attack. But hopefully that will get fixed and shouldn't be a problem. Now I run 1 Mucking About. Again, obviously there's just can be those games where there's just like someone just drops a big giant Vanguard, and that's mainly what he's there for. It's to try and kind of like have units on the board. Plays Lich Guard, we smash him with this, we carry on going. I think 1 is correct. I think you could definitely try 2, but I found that I've had some games where it's just stuck in my hand and I kind of wish I didn't have it. So you could even try not running it, but I think 1, I'm comfortable with 1 at the minute. The Big Crumpers. Now, these are cards that I seem to be the only guy who's kind of up on these. A lot of people are a bit down on them. I think it's pretty good. Again, in that kind of role at 5 mana, that kind of like there aren't many 5 energy cards that are really good in the orcs, and it just comes down. And often, like in this deck, it just comes down. It just puts another layer of pressure. Sometimes that 3 damage goes to face, which gets us closer. We often do get to swing with the 6 damage. You can bring it in down behind Grep mobs sometimes. I just find it actually plays really, really well. And the 3 damage, yeah, I know it's random, but you can kind of like control the board a little bit to kind of make sure that this is almost always useful. And at the very least, if it just hits the enemy face, it's another 3 damage whilst developing the board. And that's what we're trying to do. Think about this deck. We're trying to put on that pressure and tempo. So we're doing another 3 damage and developing a big body. I think it works really well. Veteran Stormboy is just fantastic. It's one of my favorite units in the game. It trades so well with enemy flyers, even the Marine 6-drop, especially the 6 mana flyer, a 6 melee attack flyer. I think it's superb. And of course, we get the added bonus of Stormboy. So this just allows us to this is why I say this is more like mid-rangey, because it allows us to kind of play a little bit more control and push on into those sort of later turns where we can kind of, you know, take something a mid-range unit of our opponent's out and suddenly be threatening with a big flyer, and it's like they've got to deal with it. And meanwhile, Big Gaz is just chipping away. And then finally, I've actually gone with the Commando. Now, the reason I've gone with the Commando over the Dreadnought is in those games where we do get dragged out late, maybe Necrons, there's other things as well, but I think stealth is super, super powerful. And what Commando does is he comes down, and we can obviously buff Commando with things like, it's almost like an invisible buff, because we can put Makari down, we can put Banner Knob down, and so he can get bigger. And we often can get a nice clear with him, or we can use him as an alternative win con. So the only thing to think about here, the only kind of negative synergy is that the Commando's got 6 health. So if you do play your Commando, it can then be hard to play your Warbiker as a finisher. So the thing with this, when you run this, is I look at it almost like, what if I use my Warbiker to remove, or what if I haven't drawn Warbiker? So it gives me almost like a third Warbiker. So the thing to think about is just calculating what is your win con that you're going for in any given game. And if it's your Commander, then you might not get to use the Warbiker in the way that you were thinking, but you might. So that's the deck, guys. I am really, really happy with this deck at the minute. It's doing some work. It's doing some work, and I would really like to see what happens if we get some nerfs before the first proper season, because I think this could be quite a good deck to climb with. Cards that you could change. Honestly, I think you could run one less hard as nails. You could definitely test. I want to test a second grot. I also think with the Deathcopters you could get away with just one, and it's like these three here, the 4-drops. It's like, which way do you want to do it? You could run none of, you could run no looters or no Deathcopters or no mucking about. So I think between those three, you could either run 0, 1, or 2. So you could like play around. You want 2 looters and 1 copter, or 2 mucking about. It's up to you. So I think there's something that you can really play around with. And I also think the commando's optional. Like, you could definitely try the Dreadnought. I think the Dreadnought worked okay, but I prefer the commando. But you could definitely try the Dreadnought. And even the 6-drop Ugruk, whatever his name is, he just gives you a little bit of extra draw into the late game. But for me, this is the deck that I'm kind of really happy with running right now. So yeah, let's dive into some games and see how they go. And just, top tip, by the way, when you watch the games, feel free to kind of like speed them up and watch them on 1.5 speed on YouTube. It's like quite a handy way of watching games sometimes, and then as soon as something interesting happens, just pause it or slow it down. Anyway, hope you like the deck. Hope you love the games, guys. Give me some feedback. Drop me a line in the comments. Let me know what you think. And please subscribe to the channel. I'm trying to build to that magic 500 subscribers at the minute. So we've been going about 3 weeks and we're doing well so far. And I think everyone's enjoying the content. So give it a thumbs up, give it a like, give it a subscribe. Do what you can to help. Really appreciate it. All right, let's jump into some games.
Let's get some action, boys! Yes! Daka is dead. Don't think you can outrun me! What's that stupid goblin?
So the dream here would be Makari. Makari would be a godsend right now. Absolute godsend. Bomb and draw.
Ready for fighting, boss? So much to punch, so little time.
It's like he's setting up a big green wire. We need to try and set up lethal and end the game before that happens.
Orky Daka is dead, Killy. Are you ready? I go boom!
Okay, it's good pressure. As the turning goes off. Yep, here he goes.
Stop moving! I just want to hit your heads! Stop moving! I just want to hit your heads!
Achilles should end it really.
What's all guys going? There ain't no stop!
Unless he's got Orc Knob. Don't know if you guys know that, but you can actually play the Orc Knob. You could play all that out and then play the Orc Knob, and they all still get flank. I originally thought you'd have to play the Knob first, but you don't. Oh, that'll do it though. Okay, so now we need Warbiker. Oh. Sorry, buddy.
You can outrun me!
Still not enough, is it? Oh yeah, it is. We managed to take control of the board early, and then we recognized when we basically became the beatdown and we changed just in time. And that's often what a lot of the games come down to, is like being aware where you are in the situation within the game. It's not just about the deck list. It's like I reached a board state where I became the beatdown, because we know he has the Green Horde, and once that comes off, he's essentially taken over control of the board. So we timed it quite well. Oh no, I didn't get to mulligan. Nope.
I'm the hand of Gork and Morg.
Cleanse this place. We must protect the craft world.
These are quite good here because it gives us ability to mop up stones. He's probably going to play one of his jet bikers and try and wipe the board. Okay, no.
Strike and fade.
What's all guys going? There ain't no stop!
Prophet of the Wire is such a mixed blessing. Sometimes I just look at it when it's in my hand and I think, God, I wish that was almost any other card in my deck. But then, obviously, it can find stratagem you want, but you are paying for it. Which, in a tempo deck like this one, I'm not sure is correct, really. It works well in a control deck.
Get over here and face me floor.
Yeah, I think Prophet might not be correct in this. I mean, I've had a few games where it's kind of saved me a bit, though. But we lose so much tempo. If I pop off here, we've got 3 left. And that becomes 4, doesn't it? Just kind of allow me to play... Oh no, it doesn't. Ah, that was a waste. I thought it was going to allow me to play both of those, but that was a miscalculation.
I wanna hit your heads.
Got that wrong. Oh, I'm glad we didn't play the other one. I think we played him. Okay, we want proper killie off of this.
Are you ready? I go boom.
Okay, I might take it back. Maybe Prophet of the Wire is good.
The shadows are always vigilant.
I call prayer, boys.
And what do you do about the flyer?
When my vengeance comes, it will be swift.
Okay, proper killie for the win. Here we go. Come on. We'll have to take the green hard instead though.
Stop moving. I just wanna hit your heads. Orchid Decker is dead.
Has this got blast? I don't know if it came out with blast or not. I don't think it did.
Surround them! Strangle them like the serpent!
What's that stupid?
The skeins of fate tell of nothing but death. The skeins of fate tell of nothing but death.
We need Makari or Nob.
Light dims, yet our hope is ever kindled.
We done it, boys.
You can outrun me.
The skeins
Kaboom.
of fate are treacherous this day.
Okay, so we're on turn 1, so no Ghazghkull talent this turn. We only get that on turn 2 with the Grot Tower. Sorry, we only get that if we're going second. So what we're going to do is play out the Slugger Boy, I think.
I'm the hand of Gork and Morg. Fire is my weapon. Your pitiful mortality will be your ruin.
I really think this is something that's underexplored in the game right now, by the way, is playing units that can survive the Warlord attack on the first turn of the game.
Driving? Yeah, I'm driving.
Double 7 drop's not looking great. We need to definitely fill the gap, right, between turn 5 and 7. Not sure whether this guy's better than the Scar Boy. Harder to trigger his effect, but I definitely value the range attack more right now. Although not against him.
Your skull of a stick.
As emphasised there, right? Like the one with the banner knob is just poor range attack. Come on, buddy. Finally.
Once all gets going, there ain't no stopping.
So, I'm actually thinking that we avoid the 7 drops in this situation. Do we just put 4, 8, 10? Maybe we do give him something to think about.
I'm stuck inside this thing. That makes me mad.
Well, then we'll polish that off. Oh, well, 1 off. So annoying. We need Macario. We need Macario or Nob, really. Wait, are we 1 off? No, I think we've done it. If we play hero power, right? Okay, if I haven't done this, I'm too tired to do the maths correctly. How about that? There we go. There we go. Big Gaz. Big Gaz.
I'm the hand of Golk and Moog.
So we're going
warp
second.
flows through me, and it will be your doom. Come with me. I will open your eyes to the war.
We're going second, so... Sorry. Music was a little bit loud there. Yeah, so we're going second, so we have standard Gretchen Tower, Grot Tower, and Greatest War Boss. It's a fantastic opener for us, and tap face. If we were going first, we probably would have played Slugger Boy there, or the only exception is because we have Green Horde in hand, so we might not have done. But if you don't have Green Horde in hand and you have Slugger Boy, then you would play that turn too. Don't be trapped by the fact that it's got tied. It's all about tempo. And speaking of which, yep. So we can do this. We'll attack that first. And we're going to attack with the melee attack to trigger mob. And so if we did it the other way around, then the 1 damage from this could have hit that. We'd have lost a point of damage. This deck's all about micromanaging your damage. You want to make literally every single point counts. And that's the kind of fun and challenge of this deck. Okay, so we got Deathcopter next turn. Or if we draw an Orc, then we might Green Horde. But it's probably Deathcopter next turn. Oh, really? Ouch. That hurts. Now, do we attack this guy? I think we do, you know. That could be wrong. That could be wrong. When you're ready. The Green Horde is very much more situational in this Orc deck than other Orc decks. Honestly, you could cut it. If you could absolutely cut Green Horde, but there are still obviously situations and scenarios where it just gives you a really great kind of tempo boost, but it's definitely not necessary. This is where Horde is good, because we've got 2 units that we can play it, so we always take that. Because we can combine that with, obviously, the only problem is here. So we've got a few options actually. We could play this here. We could actually play out the other one. Or we War Boss. Next turn is turn 6, we're going to play that. So we're not going to get this out, so... I think we're going to War Boss.
An impressive feat, given your obvious weakness.
Probably going into a Spawndom now. So in that case, so actually, if we were thinking that we were going to get spawned in, then we should have played Deathcopter. It's such a good counter to Green Horde. What is this shit?
I command powers beyond what you could possibly fathom.
Whatever, mate. Fathom that. It's a weird game. It's a really nice counter to Green Horde though, that play that he made. Okay, we need to really start thinking about trying to set lethal up here. So I think what we're going to do is just play out this and play out this. We're going to just go in, trigger a couple of shots from this, and then that should set us up for lethal next turn with this. And usually you want to be ending the game like turn 8. It's like, yeah, turn 8 you want to be ending the game by really with this deck. Good, we want everything to die, because then our War Viker works. Okay, yeah, so we've done it, haven't we? Wait, yeah. 13 is what you do. Perfect. So turn 8, because you can use hero power, you can always do 13 damage. And that's the game, guys. Manius Calgar.
Today we triumph over the Greenskins once more, brothers. Robbing cut, crushed heads.
Not a good turn, too.
Still kicking.
Well, turn 1, sorry. Energy 2. This turn, if he uses the flyer to kill this, he can't use the blind as well, so it's an even trade.
Temper your speed with faith and flame.
You got Honor Guard.
Courage and honor.
Easy, Marines, easy.
The Emperor's work must be safeguarded.
Okay, so we're looking to kind of try and set up a turn 8 win. Turn 9. We haven't got Warbiker. Oh, could you could actually use Fabricator. No, it's not gonna be a turn 8, turn 9 of this. I think we want to ban a knob here. And then maybe we do this. Okay. Well, this is clever on his part. He's recognized that he is no longer the beatdown and switched to leaning into control, and therefore you do use death from above to remove. So that's correct on his part. That's quite a good turn for him. Very well recognized. I think we're going to take 2 to the face and drop 2 of these. We could have obviously gone this from proper killie, but I think this is not the turn for it. Oh no, wait, oh no. Oh fuck. I messed that up. Did I mess that up? Wait, did I mess that up? No, I didn't mess it up. It's tied 2, isn't it? I forgot they dropped it. I thought I'd played the other kind of main Deathcopter as opposed to the tied ones. But it's because it's actually tied 2, so technically you could get 3 of these. You can play on turn 12. It's pretty good, the Deathcopter, actually. I'm really leaning into it. I think for 4 mana, it's essentially a flyer, so it's really only the range attack that matters. And you're getting 5 health, and it scales well in the game. It's a good drop on turn 4, but obviously it's good on turn 8, or it's a good late game because you can play 3 of them, so it can close out the game. So actually, I'm coming round to Deathcopter. Right, okay, let's just think here. What's the correct way to do this now? I wonder whether we should have used... Oh no, he killed the knob, didn't he? Has he used Storm Raven yet? He hasn't, has he? So I don't think Grot's correct, because I think that's going to get blown out by Storm Raven. We could play this and that. Could do that. Wait, am I being picky? Wait, let's see what this hits. Huh, okay. Okay, maybe I did that wrong. Maybe I should have hit that with that. I don't know. I mean, to be honest, if he's got Humanity Shield, he probably wins here, right? That's the thing that saves him. No? Okay. I'll heal that. Oh, wait a minute, what? Okay. Ah. Oh, Magari! No, no, wait. What are we thinking here? No, it's not Magari. It doesn't matter about Magari. Okay, so what matters is... We've got 3... 6, yeah. I mean, obviously, we would play this outright. Okay, you would play this. I'll just show you. You would do this. We don't need the Grots, but because we're doing hero power, obviously you would do this. Then you would do this. That's just gonna hit this. Get that out, and then you go proper killy. See how we did that? We killed her. We made sure that he was next to the Death Copter to die so that we could then bring him around here. I'd love to tell you that was on purpose, but it's pretty cool. It'd be a pretty cool advanced maneuver. There we go, boys. More wins, more wins, more wins. So yeah, so there you go. That is my Big Gaz, and I just want to say I think this deck is really cool. I think it's pretty good for climbing, to be honest. It's a lot of fun. Games are quite fast, quite quick, and as I said in the beginning, I think actually this is actually really tailor-made for Ghazghkull. I really do think Ghazghkull is a great leader for this deck. I think he is the best leader for this deck, and it's the first time I found an Orc deck where I can genuinely, honestly say that Ghazghkull's the best leader. I genuinely do think he's the best leader. So hope you enjoy. Remember to like and subscribe. Many of you have already subscribed, and I just want to take a second to actually say thank you if you have. If you haven't, hey guys, we're doing Warp Forge here every week, so if you want more good content, then hit that subscribe, pump the like button and share. And hey, enjoy your week. I'll see you in the next one. Thank you.